Welcome, everybody, to this 10-year anniversary.
What?
I know, of the Left Hand Right Brain podcast.
That's crazy.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, 10. It was a trip. Honestly, I was like 10 years.
Yeah, it's nuts. Wow. We probably recorded the first episode in like early June or July of 2014.
Okay.
In the basement. It came out like late July.
Oh, in the basement of that other place.
Yeah. Way down on like 14th and Kelmath.
Yeah.
That's where I used to live, everybody. Oh my God, you can only load it 10 at a time. I'm trying to go back here in Apple Podcasts.
Can you search like for like episode 1 or something? I mean, how many times are you going to click?
As many as it takes, Royce.
That's going to be 30 clicks.
Okay, no, I got it on my phone because I was looking at them.
Okay.
I was re-listening as I do. I probably re-listened to that first episode we did, maybe once a year around this time.
Really?
Yeah. You know, one thing I really enjoy about the podcast, especially that I've been doing them for so long, is that, you know, they are time capsules.
Yeah.
You know? So you can go back and be like, this is where I was at that time. This is how I was feeling. It's almost like journaling in a way, but better because you don't have to write. All that pesky writing, you know?
Just skip that part.
Yeah.
Just do audio journal. Yeah. That's fun. That's fun. I have re-listened to it again, but it's been a couple months now.
July 18th, 2014.
July 18th. Wow.
Yeah. And since you had to go off to Alaska, we couldn't do it on the day.
But we're back as soon as we
could.
Back
as soon as we could. August.
Jumping in.
Yeah, so you've probably been on the most out of any guest. Royce, you are the LHRB All-Star.
Wow.
Just so you know.
Wow.
Yeah. First episode, we're like, what do I call my followers? And you're like, I don't know. We call them
the Brain Trust
now. You know,
call them the Brain Trust. Yeah.
You've been, and then your second appearance here. I thought we got through all your appearances.
Oh wow.
I mean, I don't know. It's a lot. It is a lot. Second appearance was in April 15th, 2004. So not too far from where we are here. We're recording 2014. Yeah.
14, okay.
So you were on about a month later.
Oh, okay.
With Sam Provenzano and Megan DePonso.
Okay.
All right. And then you didn't come back on until 2015. Big gap. I had you on with a lot of people. I buddied you up a lot.
I remember that a lot.
Did you like it? Did you not like it?
Yeah. I mean, I always like meeting new people and chatting.
You're a big improviser. You like being, or at least I knew you'd be open to it.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't be like,
I'm just here to
I don't want to
chat, whatever.
I'm a grumpy old man.
Doesn't mean you're gonna be I don't want to talk to people all the time. I don't think it makes you a bad person. Yeah, and then you weren't on until March 20th, 2015. Yeah, and that was with Matt Monroe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we talked a lot about online dating because I was single and I was on OkCupid.
Okay.
He was trying to get me on Tinder.
Oh, okay. And I, of course, had nothing to add to that conversation.
Yeah, he was like, so what's your deal? So I was just re-listening to that before you got here. Yeah, and you're like, I'm married. He's like, oh, great. You got 3 appearances so far. Okay, here we go. July 15th of 2016.
Okay, so that was a big jump.
Yeah, big jump. You're on with Emily Przykowicz.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Name I haven't heard in a long time.
Oh, see, I should catch up with her.
Yeah, I hope she's doing well.
Yeah, I
know there's a lot of drama in the scene, but you know, I always got along well with her, and I thought,
well, we would hang out all the time. We were working on some things, and then sort of dropped off when McKenna got pregnant with our firstborn. I kind of shifted energies a little bit, but I still follow her stuff on like Facebook and stuff, and then, you know, pandemic and whatever. But yeah, she was cool. Yeah. She was, you know, one of those artist minds. I love artists, you know.
All right. Next appearance, December 23rd, 2016. It's called Emotionally Erect.
I don't remember that.
I probably was feeling in a lull and I was like, because I remember I went through this whole phase where I'm like, I can't get it up. Like, emotionally, artistically, not so much physically.
You were feeling blocked.
Yeah.
Feeling stuck.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you're my go-to. You're my comedy, or, you know, our art
That's so funny.
Guru, you're my muse, I would say.
Okay.
You're my like
Wow.
artistic muse.
Okay.
I mean, that's really how our relationship started. You know, I think I was going through a bad breakup, and you were like, you lent a bad breakup in the sense that like I was very emotionally broke it up. Not that like it was a bad relationship or ended badly in that way. It was just like I was fucked.
It was just hard.
Yeah.
Breakups are hard.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
They are. They're rough.
It doesn't matter what the relationship was like, you know.
Yeah. And then you came back on in June 2017.
Okay. So at that point,
Simple Man.
At that point,
that was your 6th appearance.
Okay. And then my son, 2017?
Yep, 2017.
Okay.
June 3rd.
Okay.
Topics discussed but aren't limited to home brewing kombucha.
Oh my God, I used to do that.
Weird audition languages or weird auditions and languages.
Huh.
It just says weird auditions, language, Great British Baking Show, voiceover acting, and tiny houses. That was the whole thing.
We were working on it. Yeah.
You were working on it way back in your third appearance, because I was just listening to that. And you were.
It took a long time. It took it much longer to build than we lived in it, but we still have it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it gets used. Sam and Jeremy lived in it during the pandemic, and then I think there was a guest who stayed there this summer. I don't know. I don't know if they used
it. Like Airbnb it out or something.
The drawback would be there's no bathroom. So
yeah. So when Sam and Jeremy lived in it, they would have to.
They would just come into the house, and they used the downstairs bathroom.
Was there ever any tensions? You ever get like, they're in the bathroom again?
You had 2 bathrooms because we had another bathroom. It was all fine. Now, we actually really liked having them around. We would have liked it more, but that was COVID, and we were kind of in 2 different COVID bubbles.
Yeah.
So we just didn't get to see them as much as we would want to have.
You're very optimistic about the tiny home living in that 3rd episode.
Oh,
any thoughts? Anything people wouldn't think about from living in a tiny home? Because you had, when you actually started living in there, I remember you had your first kid and a dog, a big dog.
Yeah.
So
I still have really fond memories of living in the tiny house.
Sure, there's some good.
I think it was a great experience. There's some things that I really liked about it and enjoyed about it. The reason that we, moved out of the tiny house didn't have to do with the house itself. It had to do with sort of the situations and the context around the house. But, and now I sort of have other things and other priorities, but like I could do it again. I could see myself living.
You could do it again?
I think so. Yeah. Maybe not like right now, maybe not with 2 kids. But like in the future.
So like if your life is completely different?
I mean,
is that what you mean?
Like at a certain point, the kids are going to move out, right?
Damn.
Like, we're looking like decades ahead, right? Like would it work?
Like 3 decades, you're going to let your kids live with you for 3 decades?
I mean,
if they want to,
however long it takes, but like there's a possibility that like there's a future time period where it's just me and McKenna, might need less space. Depends what I'm working on.
Right.
I think at this point, like my workspace is becoming really, really important to me. So it's like, okay, where does that fit? Is that like in the same unit, or is that,
make it a little sidecar?
Yeah. Or is there like a shed, or do like a rent out a space? And so like I have to go to the studio,
Yeah.
And who knows?
Well, the whole thing was like so you could travel around and live in that tiny house, right? It was like what I thought the goal was.
There was a possibility of that, but the thing was so hard to move that was really not feasible.
So like with the realism of that, like how did that go? You thought you'd be able to move around a lot easier? What was the...
That's fine.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying like what are the things you don't think about or things that didn't work that people may not know about the tiny home?
I don't know. Like it's just a mindset shift. And like the priority was we're going to live in this house. And so like that was the thing. And like other decisions like cascaded off of that. So there was like, okay, well then I'm not going to have a big workspace. So then the things that I'm going to work on are going to be small things or things I can do on the computer.
Yeah. I remember you talking about digitizing all your things.
Yeah.
That was a big process.
Yeah. And so like, it was just a shift of like, what do I have to change in my life in order to fit into this space? which is, I think, a way that people don't like to think about it.
Yeah,
People like to think
that,
about like
that wording was
how, what is my life? And then how do I shape the space around that? And we were approaching it in a different way. We're like, we're going to live in this space. So what do we have to do in order to fit into this space? So we just made it work. So, now I have different priorities. We've got kids and I've got these projects that I'm working on. And so, those are more of my priorities, rather than, hey, can we make tiny house living work? It's just a different thing. Just a different thing.
But yeah, with just like the nuts and bolts of like moving it. What was like you said like moving it became a problem. How is that?
Well,
because that was supposed to be like a feature.
Right. So like it was something where it required, being towed by a truck, and like neither of us were comfortable doing that. So we had to like either get a friend or hire someone to move it when it needed to be moved. So that wasn't something we could just do on our own. But in terms of like the mobile living, like we ended up doing that later because we got the RV and then we lived on the road for 3 or 4 months with 2 kids. That was not great. That was unpleasant experience.
Just because it wasn't big enough?
No, it had nothing to do with the space.
Pooping outside probably wasn't great.
I mean, we had the RV,
okay, RV. Okay, sorry.
So,
you switched to your RV now.
So, like it was just the amount of work that it took to set up and tear down, the pace of travel that we were going at. Like we were traveling almost every day. So that was like a lot of setup and tear down to just move and be in a new place. So like that wasn't great, but that was sort of dictated by where we needed to be and when, like how fast we needed to move. When we were stationary, it was a little bit better, but like even then we were like in an RV campground, which is like not a place that we would have chosen to live, Yeah. And then just the age of the kids, it was just very hard to like get them what they needed and like all of us maintain our sanity.
Just the like, I think idea of you with a baby born walking around a fucking RV camp with your newborn.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't new. He was 1.5 was our youngest.
I thought what was when the second one come?
So like, no, so that was our second was 1.5 and our oldest was like 3. It must have been about 4.
Mean, still, you're carrying that baby around.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it would like the hardest part was just like trying to find stuff for them to do. I mean, we went to a lot of playgrounds, and we didn't get to like, and we didn't have like time or energy to like go. There was like stuff was like, well, I want to go see this. I want to go see this. And then by the time we were in that area, like it just wasn't like, I didn't have the time or energy to like actually go do the things that I wanted to go do or see. So
like
it was like
go to a landmark or something.
Yeah, there was like places I wanted to visit, things that I was curious
Royal
about.
Gorge or whatever, the bigger one.
So it was just like, why are we doing that? Like there was no, like we weren't getting any benefit or like like what was the point of the whole thing?
Right.
So could we do it again with the kids were a little bit older? Like, yeah, maybe. But I think the thing that we learned was like when we travel, we like to like go to a place and then like kind of like do day trips out from that place instead of like being on the move all the time. We like kind of have like, we like to have like a little home base.
Right.
So in that sense, we learned a lot.
About yourselves.
Yeah, which is important.
About
which is
the
good,
world.
Which is good to know.
Were you ever like scared about being like in shadier parts of town? Because wherever you can like park an RV, not the best parts of town. Like when when I'm driving around at my day job, I go to a lot of parking lots to wait to go pick up somebody, and they're not the best parts of town. They're like off to the side, in the corner. A lot of parking lots, a lot of weird, just like wherever you can fit your thing. Is there ever like, I mean, things aren't great everywhere.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't know that I was ever like scared. I was just like, a lot of it was just like, this place isn't nice.
Yeah.
It didn't feel good to be there.
You never felt like in danger.
I don't recall ever feeling endangered.
Because I think a lot about like, I could like convert. We just got this Yukon Denali from a relative. And it's like I could convert the back to be like a living space, and like I see all these things of like people putting up, like they do car camping, things like that. I was like, I go to different areas, do comedy, and just sleep in my car. But the idea of being in a parking lot just it makes me feel very vulnerable, like because I'm just there on an island by myself, and somebody could come up and fuck with me,
just break in. Yeah,
sure. But it's like
I think the advantage is because I've seen a couple of those too, and I'm like, oh, the advantage of those is that they're smaller. There's more places that you can put them. If you've got a 28-foot trailer, there's only so many places you can put that, and like a lot of the struggle is just finding, okay, where are we going to stay tonight? But with like a van or a truck, like there's a lot more flexibility if you feel safe in the parking lot where you're staying.
Yeah, I've been looking at this VW electric bus. It's called like the VW Buzz.
Whoa.
But it's like, it looks so dope. I don't know. For some reason, I'm really into it because it's like a play on the old school VW bus.
That is cool.
But it's an electric.
That is very cool.
I know. I was telling Mallory because usually I was like, if we can get any car, I want one of those new Broncos. But I'm like, maybe we should get this.
I mean, that's going to be very expensive. An electric van.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like 55,000 or something is like average.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going to do it, I think Colorado's one of the best places because you get so many rebates because they're really trying to incentivize.
This is true. This is true.
So,
and if it's going to be your living space too, like, I mean, we're talking about totally, we're talking about like converting to like a van life, but
I wouldn't do totally van life, but being able to like travel and do comedy or I think it looks pretty sick.
That is so cool.
And they're saying it gets like 250 miles to the gallon, to the charge or whatever.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have a hybrid, right?
No, we have a full electric, but it's an older model. And so its range is pretty small. It's about maybe 70 at best, maybe 80 miles. So it's really only for kind of in town. But we love it for that. We just can't go on a big old road
50,000. Yeah, around 50,000 is the price for it. But they're not going to come out till next year. They're already out in the UK, but they're not here yet.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I saw that and I was like immediately just like taken by it. I don't know why.
It's very charming,
right? Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. No, the design on it is great. It's very very evocative of those 70s.
Yeah, the VW
and that's
bus.
Like a whole like era. That's like a whole lifestyle.
Yeah, it's like a vibe.
Like hey, we're living in the van and traveling around. I don't know what they were doing.
Apparently, they're very unsafe just because of the way they're built to look. Make like they're very top heavy. Oh. They can't go very fast. There's no like crumple zone, so they had to do a lot. Because I've been watching a bunch of videos on them, and they had to do a lot to make them safe.
In it.
Well, I mean, when I get into something, I get it.
Yeah. So, you want to learn about it.
Yeah. So like they had to do a lot to make like crumple zones, and all, just to make it safe for like, to have all the safety standards you have to have for today. So, they had to kind of go away from the clap, just that flat front look and all that jazz. But apparently it's pretty stable because the battery's in the middle, so you're driving on the battery.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's like one of the pluses with an electric car. Although I was just curious, I wonder how it'd be in the snow because, you got to deal with the snow here. So I bet you could lift it up a little bit and get some beefy tires on it.
Yeah, that's more of a tire issue. We swap out the tires on ours. The thing that you worry about in the winter is it diminishes the battery capacity. So that's just something you have to factor in, that you can't go as far when it's cold. But yeah, electric vehicles on the whole.
The Buzz is back and on the channel. We had it originally when it launched.
Like there's less mechanical parts, so there's less maintenance. So like they're like more expensive up front, but end up being kind of cheaper in terms of like maintenance. And of course, there's no fuel costs. And
do you have a charger at your house?
Yeah.
Was that hard to get one of those?
No,
we just hired somebody
to do it.
Plug it in.
Yeah. So like, I mean, that's an additional expense, but for ours, especially for the range that it has, it's an absolute necessity. We have to be able to charge at home.
Gotcha. But yeah. So there's it's like a different factor. But it'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting.
That's cool.
All right. So we got up to your 6th appearance here. Sorry. Yeah. So your 7th appearance here is December 5th, 2017.
Okay.
You were on with Patrick Scott. Do you remember that at all? I remember doing this at Eric Riley's house because I was living in there.
I do remember this one.
Their basement for a little while. So
that was a little bit spicier. I think we kind of
because Patrick's he doesn't hold back on his opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was curious on.
I mean, I remember that one. I just remember there being a little bit more friction. Between.
But he's a fun guy.
It was a great conversation. It was just it was just a little bit more intense than our conversations tend to be. So
if anyone doesn't know, if you don't know, you should go back. You should learn Royce Roeswood, theater artist, writer, all these accolades, all these things he's doing, artist extraordinaire.
And more things coming.
Sure.
I've got some projects coming down the pipeline that I'm very excited about.
Next one, October 2018. Interesting.
So at that point, I'm a father. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why. Big Daddy's the name of that episode. You're a dad now. Yeah, that was episode 170.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, after you, Patrick Scott might be the second most LHRB All-Star. Katie Bowman's also been on a lot, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm in good company.
Yeah. Paul Caroli.
Yep.
Also late great edition. Okay, here we go. September 20th, 2019. Spirit Animals. Is that what's one called?
When we did that pitch.
Yeah, we did the pitch for it. I think about that one sometimes. Yeah, it's a good one. That was episode 194.
Wow.
Oh, and I've probably been skipping these live ones we did.
Oh, we did a whole bunch of live ones.
Yeah, we did all these live ones. Shit.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, there was a whole time where I was co-hosting
Live Hand Right Brain
at the Mercury, or not the
Mercury,
the Molecule Effect. Molecule Effect. That's right.
Yeah, those were great.
Those were so fun.
Yeah, I got to go back and I got to add those in.
A whole bunch of those. Well, that was kind of a different thing too, though.
Didn't want to do it with anyone else because I haven't done them since. Do you have a favorite memory from those?
I mean, there was I remember Emily, of course, a friend of mine. I remember Michelle.
Emily
Grace
artist.
King.
Yeah, great. I loved all her art with like the worlds and like the little characters on them. Yeah, those were very fun.
And then I remember we brought on my friend Michelle because she's a writer.
I just saw on Facebook she's getting married, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah. And then the one I don't remember his name, but he was the weed reviewer for Westward or one of those magazines.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either. But he was fun.
He was an interesting guy.
He brought a vibe. Yeah, he was like full energy.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very gracious guy.
And then we brought on was it Jen? Did we bring on Jen and she sang?
She sang.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Opera singer Jennifer Cress Riley from Let's Get Drunk and Talk About Your Wedding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if there were others, I apologize, but those are the four that I remember.
No, that's great.
Stand out in my memory.
Very fun times, very fun pods.
Man, those were fun. If you ever wanted to do something like that again.
Oh yeah, you'd be into it?
I'd have to think about it, but I just in terms of like my availability.
You're
like,
here's
the thing. No, so the heart is willing. Like I would like, I want to do that. It's just a logistics thing of figuring out time to spend on something like that. But the kids are getting older, and I'm feeling like I have a little bit more kind of flexibility and time. So I
mean, you're not quite there yet, but I was listening to some other father on a pod, and I think his kids are getting older, and he was talking about how it's like as they get older, they need you less and they need you differently.
Yeah.
And that was very hard for him.
That's true.
Is that something you've already been experiencing at all as a dad? Okay.
I mean, like my oldest is only 6.
April 22nd.
Oh, okay.
2023.
Oh, okay.
Another.
We're getting close.
That's 10. That's 10 appearances.
Wow.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, so like when they're infants, right? They have a whole bunch of like physical needs, right? And now, it's transitioning with my oldest. Like he has some like emotional needs that are different. And it's not that it's hard. It's just a different thing. And it's just like, oh, like you need support through these kinds of situations. And he has a lot of anxiety around a lot of different things.
The younger one or the older one?
My oldest. Yeah.
August 27th, 2023. 11th appearance. Just to
wow. Racking them up.
Yeah.
So, so just learning how, I guess the thing that's hardest for me is like just trying to figure out like how to talk to him about those big feelings in a way that he can understand and like hear, you know, because like I can see the situation and it can be like, okay, well, like, you know, and I have the perspective, but he doesn't have that perspective. So like, how can I, you know, and a lot of it is just maybe just sitting and listening and just like letting him express and like just responding, you know, not trying to solve or fix, just like letting him like have the big feeling and just know, like letting him know that like it's a safe place with me and he can express that. And like,
has death become a thing yet?
Yeah,
that has to be hard.
Yeah,
January 15th of this year, 13th appearance.
Oh, that was earlier. Yeah. No, like really really surprisingly, like he's asking a lot of questions like what happens when you die and like you know, spirits and ancestors and like all these questions, and like the best I can do is like, well, here's what some people think.
Right.
You know, because like I don't know. Nobody knows. Yeah, but apparently that's very developmentally appropriate for that age. So he's not just like morbid.
No. I think, you know, one of the big things I do remember is like talking about death with my aunt and her being like, yeah, people die, you know, or like, you know, you can't worry about it. Her whole thing was like, you can't do anything about it. So why worry about it? And that was hard for me. But I remember I find more comfort in it now. And I think about her saying it quite a bit. So
yeah,
at the time it was very hard.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, so that's 14 appearances. This would be your 14th appearance.
Wow. Not counting
Not
the live.
counting the live shows.
Wow.
I was thinking,
Okay, here we are.
Counting those.
Number 14. Well, JD, I made you and the podcast a card.
You did.
10
episodes or 10 years. Right
10
here.
years.
Gandalf, you got all my favorite things. Gandalf smoking a pipe made of ice cream cones, which is awesome. Thank you so much. Gandalf says, you're the cream of the crop. Appreciate it.
I was like, what do you get? I was imagining, you know, like it's 10 years old. Like, what do you get a 10-year-old? You get them a funny card with stuff that they like on it.
We're in double digits. Did you make this? You make this?
I made that. Yep.
You drew the Gandalf?
I copied it off of another image. So I was looking at another image and draw it. But
I mean, you drew it.
I drew it. Yeah. So I just wanted to say like, congrats. Like it's a huge accomplishment, JD. So, you know, the least I can do is make you a funny card.
Yeah, I've outlasted all those other podcasts. You fucking thought I was not shit when I came out, but guess what? Who's still here? Who's here and who's not? All right, I got a list of all the dead, but hopefully forgotten pods that I.
Whoa!
You know, I'm just joking.
Okay,
no, I'm just joking. But
shift of energy.
But no, yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's like one of those things where it's like you just keep doing it long enough, and
wow,
it is fun to get props from people who's just starting podcasts now. And they're like, wow, you've been doing it since 2014, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm an OG, even though I thought I was late to the game when I started. But, you know, here we are.
Yeah, you're just doing it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, just doing it. I guess that's one of those things. It's like, you just keep doing what you like, I guess. And like that, there has to be merit in that, or at least that's something I cling to, like a life raft in the middle of the ocean.
I like this.
Yeah. And some of the things in the first episode, you know, I guess the whole thing with left hand, right brain was, what is art? I mean, that was something I remember, you know, the tagline was always an exploration of creativity. I started it when I was, you know, probably my senior year of college. You know, I did a directing class where, you know, he constantly asked us those fucking woo-woo questions about what is art and blah, 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 you know,
whatever.
So I just started asking him on my podcast. So, you know, I think you said on the first episode, I can't remember what you said about art, but you said you're an artist just because you create, therefore you are.
Yeah.
Is that something you still stand by?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. An artist is an identity that I take on more and more, I think, every year.
You're pushing away father and embracing artist.
Not to the exclusion of other identities.
No.
But just like, you know, it takes a lot of courage. And I remember the courage that it took to say I'm an artist, like for the first time. But like, yeah, I mean, the acting and the writing, and now I'm making, you know, tarot cards and other art. And yep, there's Tarot the Trunk right there in the back. And I've got other things that are coming down the pipe that I'm excited about as well.
I see people and they're trying to get it to focus.
Oh, they're trying to get
it's not really. It's not that kind of camera.
Okay. Yeah, and it's like just like really sinking into that, like I'm an artist. I make things. I don't always understand what it is I'm making. I am learning to like follow my intuition and be like, I don't know where this idea is going, but trusting that it'll end up somewhere, and then like shaping it into a thing that I can share with people is something that I am sinking into, which is really lovely.
Sinking, and now you're not.
I feeling more comfortable in, right?
Yeah,
Instead of being like, oh, I'm an artist, so I have to make stuff, or like, what am I going to make? And all the anxiety that goes around it, just like,
I pulled a card from your tarot deck for you.
Okay, great. You drew the Chariot.
Got the Wheel of Time here. Great.
That's
series.
the back. But yeah, you drew the Chariot. Awesome. I love that. So this is the card of like moving forward with energy and force.
Oh, interesting.
But in this particular version of the card, right, we see like a vehicle with like other people. So I like to think about like, okay, where are we going and who's coming with us? Like, who are we inviting into the van?
Okay,
yeah,
like VW electric bus van.
So it's like, all right, let's get a van, let's get a crew together, and like let's go on a quest. Like
that's what I call my tours. One comedy tours is quests.
I love that so much. Yeah, I love that.
I was thinking, I was like, I do like driving a lot. I drive a bus. For my day job, I'm a professional transporter by trade. So, I don't mind driving. I think I'm good at it. I like it. I was like, if I could get a vehicle that's big enough to carry around some comics,
do like a
joint I'll
tour.
Be like, hey, I'll drive. I'll provide the car as long as you just book these places.
Yeah.
Because I think more other people are better at different things like booking and like reaching out and like getting these connections, building this,
and
tour.
You're the guy with the van.
Yeah, I'll be the guy with the van. And
the podcast.
And let me get some stage time, and I'll drive.
I mean, you could do a whole series of like, taking videos like in the van, like comics in a van on a tour, like kind of like behind the scenes, cracking jokes, like that could be a whole thing.
Cracking jokes.
I assume, I don't know.
More like them talking about fucking doing weed all the time. No, I was like, I'd have to get a crew that didn't want to do illegal drugs all the time. It'd have to be a select crew that was too lazy to drive and two wasn't going to bring illegal drugs into states that it's illegal. Because I would be so paranoid. I'd be so pissed if I got fucking arrested in a state where weed wasn't legal because this guy couldn't fucking go without his vape. I would be so upset.
That would be a pain.
Yeah. But, I think that's possible. I think it's doable.
This is the thing.
Because we're all lazy in different ways. And
there are things that we like to do and things that we don't like to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I said it better, but yeah.
Sure.
So anything you noticed about me in the last 10 years? Have I gotten more cynical?
No, I don't think at all.
Wonders if I've gotten, we've definitely been changes.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm thinking back like 10 years ago, like you're definitely like more confident.
Oh, okay.
I think you just you've relaxed into it a little bit, right? Instead of, I think it was, you had all these like, oh, am I a comic? Am I legit? Trying to like prove yourself, feeling like, do I belong in this?
Legit to quit.
Yeah. And now I think you just, I don't know, because I'm not inside your head, but I feel like the energy that you give off is like, yeah, I'm here, I belong. These are the things that I do, and instead of trying to, have to justify, So yeah, I definitely think more confident, more relaxed, just owning yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Of course.
Well, one thing I liked that you were doing within the last 10 years is you started going to the gym. You started going to the same Voss I was going to, so, I was like the idea of running into you at the gym. And,
unfortunately,
being some lifting bros.
I've been off of it this year. I kind of fell off early in the year and haven't gotten back on.
It's always there. The gym's always there.
But the thing that I learned doing that is like, oh, this is something that's available to me. This is something I can do. This is something that's possible. It's just about, putting it high enough on the priority list that, you go, because I was going regularly, and I was making it work and I was seeing changes in my body and I was like, yeah, great. So it's just about making space and time for that. So it's good to know that that's available.
Yeah. It's good to know that it's there.
Yeah. I mean, because like before, the mindset for me before was like, oh, that's not for me.
Oh, okay.
Like that's not something that I do or know how to do. And now I see that it is. And so it's a choice. It's a choice to be like, I'm not focusing on that right now.
Yeah.
But I can if that, because like part of it for me was like, oh, if I can change my physique, maybe I can book like more like commercials and stuff. And that didn't, it was like, maybe I didn't stick with it long enough to like see results.
You've been in a bunch of lottery commercials.
Just the one.
Oh, I thought you were in multiple.
I've done other commercials, but I don't know if I've done specifically lottery commercials. But and that didn't turn out to be the case, like, so this reason that I was doing it, this thing, maybe if I had stuck with it, I could have seen those kind of results, but it was just like, oh, that wasn't matching up. And I got sick, and then I, and then that screwed up my, rhythm, and then just other things. And, it's hard to do it all.
Yeah, for sure. That's like,
and right now my big priority is I'm working on this novel, trying to finish it, trying to get it out. And so like sort of all my energy and focus, besides the other projects that I'm working on,
last time
is getting it out and getting that and my other products out that are on their way.
Last time you were on the pod, I think before we were doing the book reviews, we were talking about using AI and tarot for you to write your newest novel that you said that you had kind of gotten to a finish point.
Yeah. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. So we were in Alaska for 2 months. I was taking the boys out and doing hikes.
Already sounds very shining-ish.
And I don't know.
Writer takes family to remote.
It does sound like that a little bit. But anyway, it was just this thing. I don't know if it was because it was the only thing I was working on. I don't know if it was because the internet was really bad at my in-laws' house, and so I wasn't on social media as much.
Your wife's from Alaska, so he's got an in.
Yeah. So we were staying with my wife's folks. But anyway, it was just like I did like the best and the easiest feeling writing of my entire life. I just really settled into this rhythm where, and I just hit this thing, and like, I was solving all these problems in the novel and just writing and writing and writing. And I got to a point where, I said it's done. There's still some more things that need to happen, but it's,
well, you're saying AI, we're having the AI write it, but you were away from AI and you had a better time, right?
Yeah. Well, so the AI I only used really in the early drafts when I was trying to get something on the page.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of thoughts now about what the AI can be used for.
Yeah, I've used Sensia. I've used it so much for like, not so much for joke writing or whatever, but I'll put in my bits. And, I've gotten some interesting things from it.
Yeah. So I don't know about, and I'm not even sure at this point. There's a couple of passages in the book that are still there that the AI wrote, but nothing has remained untouched. And a lot of it has been edited out. It was sort of like gave me a scaffolding to like work with. But honestly, the tarot deck has been much more helpful overall and consistently through the whole process.
Yes, I'm just like putting in like, hey, I'm doing this in Denver, blah, blah, blah. Royce. Oh, yeah. So this, I was just asking like, hey, where do you think I should do more career-wise to try and advice. Like,
yeah,
because I was watching something else and he was like, oh, what I would use AI for, it was like a YouTube tip, like how to build your YouTube channel tip. And he was like, what I would use AI for is like, hey, build me a curriculum for getting better at using Final Cut Pro. So he's like, so build me a 10-week curriculum where I could do like 10 minutes a day or whatever, 10 lessons to help me get better at doing X, Y, and Z. And
awesome.
Blah, blah, blah. So he's like, that's how you use like,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm call it. That's how you use it to help you with your.
Absolutely. And so like, I'm sort of looking ahead. I'm looking at writing the next book in this series that I'm working on. And I'm wondering like, I might not use AI at all. Because it's a bit of a controversial tool in the community, and we'll have to see. So I'll have to see if the blowback is worth the cost. Because like if there's any sort of like, oh, we don't want to touch this because it, the AI is tainted by AI because I used it a little bit when I was writing, if that was the case, I'd be like, okay, I would just use the tarot deck because I feel like I can do the same or similar things without the cost. So I don't know that. It could be that nobody cares. And if that's the case, then I can, reconsider. We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
So, but at this point, for me, it's just a tool to kind of stay in flow. Like if I need an idea quickly, be like, okay, what can I do here? Or, write the next passage. And that gives me an idea and I keep going. But overall, when I think about the whole process beginning to end, the tarot deck was much more helpful.
Oh, interesting.
Than the AI.
Mm.
So at least for me.
And it totally goes with like the whole like, oh, the muse comes to you, and it seems like more of like a spiritual, esoteric, more of like a woo-woo-y than like
no, for sure.
100 AI thing, which 100%. Is interesting.
Yeah, I think the more seriously I've taken creativity, and the more I like practice and like writing daily, and moving deeper into the process, the more I sort of see and understand those people who talk about creativity in these esoteric, woo-woo, as you said, ways.
Yeah.
Because there are things that happen that you can't explain or like you don't understand. Like if you're trying to like think and like analyze, they just don't make, you just I'm finding myself more and more leaning into that, the intuition, and just sort of like, I'm making this choice. I don't know why I'm making this choice. Later, weeks, months later, I understand why I've had, why I made that choice. Like you just follow these threads.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, I don't know why, but I feel like this is going to happen here. And then later, sometimes even months later, you're like, oh, that's why. Cause it was for this thing that, but I didn't have that piece yet. And yeah. And so it's this very nonlinear exploration. And it feels awesome. Yeah. It's just like it's a total. It's wild. It's wild.
It is, right? It's crazy. Yeah, when you can have some perspective, look back and be like, "Oh, this had to happen for this to happen."
Yeah,
that's something I love about certain like Lord of the Rings. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. One of the things that they're always talking about is like bad things happening for good reasons. I can't remember exactly the phrase J.R. Tolkien uses, but like this bad thing had to happen for ultimately the better thing. And that's a very Catholic, I think, like thought as well. But I mean, the older I get, I don't know if it's just like a self-protective mechanism or I don't know, but I lean into being like, that's true. I think, ultimately like evil destroys itself and like, you just got to do the right thing. And I've been reading a lot of Stoicism stuff as well. And there's kind of a thread of that in there. And this idea I've been getting a lot of is like, these ideas come to you and they're like, we came to you because we think you're the one to like birth us into the world and give us life. But like, are you going to be like, these things came to you, they chose you. And are you going to like let them down? Or are you going to be like, not like the one that like, and this idea dies or goes to somebody else?
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't worry about it. Like,
cause I feel pressure now or more pressure. Like I'm not.
Well, so here's like, I'm looking at like, if I'm looking at my notebooks and I'm looking at like all the ideas that I have, like, if I were to like make a list of all the things that I want to do, like for just the ideas that I have right now, I mean, I'm looking at like a decade's worth of work at least, and then the thing that happens is you make one thing and it like, cause so like I wrote this novel and then it's like, okay, well I have this other novel in the series, but like there's these other characters that I've left and it's like, oh, could they have a spin-off thing? So you write this one novel and you end up with 2 more ideas. Right. And so these ideas start bifurcating and like, if that keeps happening, at a certain point, I'm going to have more ideas than I can accomplish with the time that I have left to live.
Yeah. So we're going to be surrounded by the dead bodies of all our dead ideas because we couldn't help them.
Well, but like you said, like if you don't
in an idea graveyard,
if you don't pick up an idea, it goes on to somebody else, right? Sure. Somebody else can pick it up.
So, you got to choose as well.
And so for me, it's just a prioritization of like, I've got all these ideas. Okay, what's next? What feels most pressing? What am I excited about? What makes sense in terms of like the larger things that I'm trying to build? Like how, like the all of those factors go into, okay, now I'm going to put energy into this. Which isn't to say I don't get blindsided. Like I've picked up a couple of other projects in the last 3-4 months that like just sort of came to me and I'm like, yeah, I could get this done relatively quickly, So like I'm focusing on this novel, but then it's like, okay, I could do these other things on the side too, just
side quests.
Yeah, just little things just to kind of see, and you try it out, and you sort of. And I think the other thing that is happening for me is like I've kind of put my fingers into like so many different like pies, and like
You're not allowed any more pie shops.
I am not. One, I am lifelong ban from the National Pie Association. That's not true. That's just a joke.
Yeah, they're mean. They don't let you. They're not fucking around.
But I've acquired all these skills that like before, if I think about 10 years ago, I'd get an idea and I'd be like, okay, but I don't know how to do any of that. And now it's with the skills that I have, I can see what to do with this idea from beginning to end. And then it's like, okay, well, let's do it, because I've learned these steps. Or if there's a step that I don't know, it's like, yeah, I could probably learn how to do that passively,
like the tarot deck. This was like a side quest.
Exactly. It was like, do I have enough graphic design skills that I could whip together a tarot deck? Yeah, probably. And then through that process, I learned a lot. I acquired so many more skills because there were so many things as like, well, I want it to look like I have a picture in my head and I'd be like, okay, how do I make it look like that? And, watch a YouTube tutorial. And I just expanded those skills so much that, that was a huge learning process for me. Now I feel more confident in taking on other projects like that.
And that's how it goes, huh?
Which is to say, I've got more tarot adjacent projects coming down the pipe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Are they?
More witchy things coming your way.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, young me wouldn't even have touched these tarot decks. I mean, because this is Dancing with the Devil, right?
It's
here.
just cardboard. It's pretty
gateway
cardboard
to Satan's butthole, or Satan's getting in your butthole. So, anyway, you should get your kids into Catholicism.
No, thanks. Although I did recently, we drove past a church and my eldest, my 6-year-old said, that's a church. And I was like, yeah. And I was curious where he had learned that.
Like, how do you know that?
It's like, yeah. So I was like, Sagan, what's a church? And he was like, oh, it's a sword without a point. I think he was looking at the cross. He was looking at the cross sign. So like he knew like that was associated, was a church. And then he was like, Papa, what is a church? And I was like, how do I explain this to like a 6-year-old who has no context for religion?
And you have no respect for religion. So
that's not true.
No, I mean, it's
not that I have no respect. It's just I choose what I want.
Dumb. No, I'm just kidding. I get. I'm sorry. I'm putting words in your mouth.
You are putting words in my mouth.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to have fun.
My critiques of organized religion, especially in this country in the West, I have critiques. I have no's.
Sure.
Right? Does it provide a useful, sense of community and belonging and connection for people? Yes. Are there things that come along with that I think, I think that's one of the problems in the next generation or so that we're going to have to solve, right? Because more and more people are leaving churches, right? Spiritual but not religious is the fastest growing religion in the United States.
That's what was in that Soul Boom book.
Yeah, exactly. So but obviously people need a sense of community. People need to see each other outside of work and home. We need things that bind us together and give us a sense of belonging. How can we do that without the toxic structures that empower the religions that we have available to us here in the United States? That's a really important question. And I don't know the answers to those questions. But I think we got to figure that out. So
there's so many things.
I know, right? Or what else do we have to figure out? Oh, we have to figure out the economy. Oh, well, we also have to figure out climate. Oh, we also have to figure out failing education. Oh, we also have to figure out the failing health system, right? Like
the political system
and the political, right? It sort of feels like we're in need of a big refresh,
But I mean, that doesn't come without cost.
Right. So how can we navigate that in a nimble and graceful way is the question.
I wish.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. It is funny that we've been, over your 14 appearances or 13 plus appearances, and 10 years of conversation, I do feel like we're all constantly, I mean, part of it's because of me and my own journey with creativity. I do think we circle a lot of the same things over and over again, but it's just like, it's a circle. It never ends. You know, you're starting something else.
Well, I think also like things like you kind of loop on things, right? Until you get like a new piece of information or a new like thing, you kind of like, it just kind of keeps, you don't have any place to go.
Yeah.
You know, until you have that new insight or that new discovery or like,
it's a circle. It's a circle.
It's a circle. It's a pretty circle.
Yeah. It's life.
Anyway.
Life is a pretty circle.
There you go.
Well, hopefully we get another 10 years, we'll have a good time. Who knows?
Do you want to keep doing this for 10 more years?
I think I will keep doing it as long as I guess I'm having a good time with it,
That's the key.
I mean, I haven't been putting out episodes once a week the last month or so.
Oh.
But that's just been like, I've booked people and it's kind of hasn't worked out or have been more lax on trying to stay ahead of on booking people. But, that comes in waves too, the motivation to do that, things like that. So it kind of comes and goes in that way. But I mean, I don't think I do like putting it out. I don't know if at this point consistency with the podcast specifically, because now I'm thinking I'm going a lot more towards YouTube stuff. With the video, it's a whole different element. And I do find myself leaning more towards that medium of like, visuals for the YouTube viewers versus the listener.
Yeah.
And sorry, listener, I don't mean to leave you behind.
You can always just, I know a lot of people like even my stuff on YouTube, people just listen to it. Like they don't actually sit and watch the thing. They just kind of put it on like a podcast.
Yeah. And it's in the background.
There if,
if they care to look.
So,
but I mean, there's a lot of things I'll just listen to on YouTube while I'm doing stuff as well. Like podcasts I'll just have on YouTube instead of subscribing on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like the pods I listen to on YouTube, but YouTube is the app I open up the most now, over Instagram or anything. So like,
wow.
And I think that's the thing for most people now. So it's still like a very, YouTube is still growing as a platform, and it's
interesting
crazy.
It's been around for so long too.
Right.
It's not one of these new hot ones.
Changing. I mean, and it's the main one.
Yeah.
It's a big one. It's like Google and YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a search engine.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And you can find my podcast, Living the Right Brain, on there. Check it out. And you could also find Royce's stuff.
Yeah. So you can go to
Ragamancer.
You can go to ragamancers.com. That's where you're going to find all the most current links. You can find my YouTube channel too. Currently it's called Science Fantasy Awesome, but I'm thinking about changing that to match kind of my other kind of umbrella stuff. I'm thinking about changing it to the Ragamancers. So I would just send people to ragamancers.com and you'll be able to find whatever links you need to whatever my things are turning into in the future.
Yeah. Well, here's the 10 more years. Hopefully we'll get you on 14 more times.
Wow. That'll be fun.
As long as your kids will allow it. And
we will see.
Yeah. Thanks for being a part of it, man. I appreciate it. Like I said,
absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. I don't know. You're a big part of it. I was going to say it wouldn't happen without you, but I mean, that's probably true. Like I said, you're my muse. You're the guy I go to when I'm...
Don't sell yourself short.
Well,
like,
thank you.
You don't get to 10 years on a podcast. Like...
With the guy you've had on 14 times. No, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. And here's to the next one.
All
right, man. Appreciate it. Love you. Be excellent to each other. We'll pound it forever.